All right.
Oh,
Twin Smoke Shop Studio Headquarters. Am I up, Dave?
Were we not?
now.
Were we not live? I don't think we were live yet.
We were live.
We were live, but now we have audio.
Audio.
Yes.
Okay, so make sure you start it from here when you do the. Yeah. Okay.
Don't worry about
That was Jeff Pitchell's Fat Cigars you were listening to, and that means it's time for Not Just Blowing Smoke, coming at you live from Twin Smoke Shop Studio Headquarters in Londonderry, New Hampshire. If you are watching the stream live on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, or if you're listening after the fact, whether it's on Podbean, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, or wherever else, you might find us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you don't ever miss a thing. I'm
Yes.
Pastor Padron. I'm here with my co-host Dave. Pat took a snow day.
Took a snow
But-
day.
We have one of the original Not Just Blowing Smoke alums with us tonight.
Yes, sir.
Nic O.
Nic O. Tine.
Back with us, a.k.a.
Oh, yeah.
Prison Nick.
Can you
And
play my stick?
do we have it?
I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
It was on.
Very municipal.
It's very municipal.
And
This.
along, yes, this, smoke it if you got it.
Always.
And we have Kaz Walters from Laudisi Distribution Group with us tonight. Hello, Kaz.
And I believe I have a moniker now as well.
And what's that?
What's his little intro? That's his little intro. The
Oh,
round of
no, no.
applause.
I've been dubbed by.
Oh, so are we doing the Instagram one?
No. What you gave me the other night.
Oh.
I love it.
Oh, the Warlock?
The Warlock.
Yeah.
Kaz the Warlock,
Interesting.
sitting next to Pastor Padron.
Yes. Only fitting.
Yep.
Only
It's
fitting.
because we can't fit on both of Dave's shoulders.
Right. Dave would be crushed under the weight of these angels sitting on his shoulder. Well,
Or
angels.
devils.
Angel and Warlock.
Oh boy.
Anyway, it is St. Pat's week. St. Patrick's Day is this Friday, and we thought we would theme the show after that, and just in the nick of time, we got
yes.
this cigar.
I'm the
I have
only
been
one
very
wearing
excited
green.
about
No
it.
pun intended.
Very excited about it for the last number of weeks.
Mhm.
This is the Aladino Candela Robusto. It
Oh,
is
yes.
brand new, just came out. Only 400 boxes have been made of this cigar so far. There are only 32 accounts in the U.S. that have it, and those accounts were all stores that took part in the Aladino Farm Tour earlier this year, of which Twins did. I myself went along with Bobby, a.k.a. Tater Tart.
Tater tot.
Tater Tot. And we had an awesome time, and they unveiled this to us down there, and I have been eagerly awaiting it ever since. It is a Honduran Candela around the Honduran Corojo binder and filler that's in the traditional original Aladino line. It's a Robusto 5x50. They are looking to bring Candela back.
Candela back.
Candela
Yeah.
used to be the big thing in the United States. It was the number one selling wrapper in the United States.
Used to be.
Used to be. Yep.
What's the number one rapper now? Well, it's got to be what?
It's got to be Connecticut.
Yeah, there's a lot of Connecticut's out there.
It's got to be Connecticut. But my understanding is there was some blight issues or whatever, blue mold or whatever with the original Candela, and so people, because it was so hard to grow the plant that they were using, everything went to a traditional Connecticut wrapper.
Yep.
And the traditional aging process. Candela, cigars, the wrapper keeps the green because it's a very short period of fermentation. It only takes about a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Boom.
Wow.
And so
Bada bing.
the Aroas would love it if this came back because they could produce stuff real quick for you. Anyway, so I'm excited. I know Dave's had this before. I think Nick, you had one of these earlier today.
I had one of these earlier for the
For the
first
first time.
Yep.
You're smoking this for the first time, Kaz.
This is
now.
my first impression. Yeah.
And this is your first full Candela cigar too.
Correct. I have smoked cigars that were Candela barber poles, but I have never smoked a Candela like complete 100% wrapped.
Right.
And it's really nice.
Yeah.
I'm digging it so far.
So, Nick, the pairing that we're doing with the Candela.
Yes.
You picked. So
I
you
did.
You want to talk about what it is?
So we got the boom sauce.
Boom
Boom
sauce.
sauce. So the boom sauce is a double IPA, and I couldn't tell you anything about it other than I drank it the other day, and I was like, wow, I'm like, this is really good. I'm not really big on IPAs or lagers or beers or microbrews or anything like that. I'm usually a bourbon, whiskey, scotch guy. And I had it, and I was like, wow. I was like, this is really nice. This is really pleasant.
It is refreshing, yeah.
It's not as heavy as some of the IPAs or double IPAs out there where you get really grassy notes, and it's really bitter up front.
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
definitely
like,
more sweet.
yeah, and it's got some nice sweet notes in it. So I was talking to Danny earlier, and I was smoking it, and he asked me how I like the cigar, and I was like, it's really nice. It's subtle, but it's got some really nice sweetness in it, and obviously they're using the Honduran tobacco in there, so you got the Corojo, so it's got some nice hidden spice in there. It's kind of complex. You got some nice sweetness that's going on, plus you got the kind of the grassiness that's coming through there, and it's really nice. So I was thinking, and we were talking, and I was like, you know what? I had a boom sauce the other day, and maybe that boom sauce will go good with it. And obviously we're working, so we couldn't try it on the spot. But, you know, I should have punched out for 10 minutes and tried it, but, you know, couldn't do that. But now that I'm having this IPA and smoking this cigar, it's actually pretty nice. Because the IPA is not
Definitely
heavy.
refreshing.
Yeah, it's not heavy. The IPA is kind of giving a little bit of the sweetness in there, and the cigar is coming through a little bit. It's a nice little pairing.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
So I'm not an IPA guy.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I like malt in my beer. I don't like hops.
Oh.
So I'm ales, porters, stouts.
Me too.
Yep. I love a good like Belgian quad. Like that's my style of beer. That's the spectrum that I'm in.
All right.
This is the first IPA I have ever had
All right.
that I like.
No
That you
shit.
like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
We
of course,
like,
it's
not,
going to be boom sauce.
not that I can just like tolerate. There have been some IPAs that I could like, okay, I can
Tolerate,
drink
yeah.
this. This is good. And not only do I think it's good on its own merits, but so far, I mean, I'm only maybe
Yeah,
an
the
eighth
sweetness-
of a way through the cigar. It pairs excellent so far with this cigar.
Yeah, the sweetness
it's
of
really
the,
nice.
of the boom sauce goes really well with the sweetness of the cigar. You know, it's got like this really creamy woodiness to it, and then the Corojo gives you that little bit of
yeah.
spice on the tongue.
It's right
on the-
there.
Yep, it's right there.
It's
And
beautiful.
it's really good.
it's
a
right there.
Interesting
It's
match.
right there.
It's like boom.
It's right there.
Boom sauce.
So it's a really interesting match because you would think a double IPA would be so much heavy. It would be
Right.
so bitter. It'd be just too much
and with
for
the name
cigar.
like boom sauce, you know.
Right. And
No,
you would,
this is really balanced.
yeah.
And I love Corojo. Like it's just the right amount of spice and like the astringent nature,
Yep.
and the hops go well with that.
Yeah.
And whereas this
Good
isn't,
call, bro.
Yeah, baby.
this isn't like super grassy. What I associate with the limited exposure I've had with
Yeah.
Candela. Like there is a what I associate with a sweetness like bread, like wheat.
Yep.
Like that's what I think. Like it's not sweet, but it's not overly grassy or
Right.
hay-like. There's something
No.
there that's really satisfying.
And that's because the Candela is a Honduran Sumatran.
I
Right?
believe so. Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
That's
Yeah. I
Beautiful
believe
idea.
Traditional Candela used to be made based off of a Connecticut leaf, and Julio Aroa wanted to up that a little bit. He wanted to get away from some of those really high, grassy, hay kind of notes that you would get from that particular
No, you got like the
leaf,
sweet wood. It's just beautiful.
and go with the Sumatra, which had more of a oomph to it. And I think made a great choice here.
Yeah, you nailed it right on the head. I mean, like, with the combination of the Honduran tobacco that's in there, you get that from the Honduran tobacco, the Corojo tobacco. Usually you're going to get that woody, sweet earth with the spice, almost a buttery, creamy finish. And that combined with the Candela is just magic.
Yeah.
It's just, and then because they're using a Sumatra seed, there is a nice little sweetness to it where it combines with that Corojo tobacco, and it blends so well. You don't even know. If you're closing your eyes, you don't even know that you're smoking a Candela.
Do we know if he made a specific blend for the wrapper, or if he used the same blend that he used for his Connecticut's?
It's the same blend that's on the. It's the same binder and filler that's used on the original Aladino cigar.
Oh wow, awesome!
That's nice.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
What a difference!
I like
just
what they
the
did
wrapper
with the
makes.
band.
Kind of like the Maduro cigar it's the same binder filler as the original, but it's A, box pressed, and then B, has the Mexican San Andreas on it.
Yeah.
But I tell you, at the end of the tour, and they broke it up, so it took a couple of days to do it. But at the end of the tour, we were with Justo and Julio Aroa, and they broke these out and gave them to us, and we're like, "What do you think?" And all of us were really just kind of blown away with how good this was.
I know when you came
know.
back and talked about it, this was the cigar I was looking forward to the most. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I've had other good Candela cigars. My favorite being the Roma Craft Fomorian,
Yeah, that's a
which
good one.
is a kind of a once a year release for them. If they can find the Candela that they like for that, I like this better.
Oh, yeah.
It's got that kind of Candela flavor to it, but it's ramped up, and it has cut out a lot of the things that most people don't like
Yeah.
about the Candela.
Yeah.
So you've if you like watch, I'm a big Colombo fan, and not that I was, it was already over by the time. Well, that's not entirely true. He did Colombo, and Peter Falk did Colombo well into the 80s, almost the 90s, right? But if you watch the episodes, all the cigars he smokes are green.
Are they?
Yeah, they're all Candela. They're all Candela cigars.
That's interesting.
Everybody, JFK, Candela cigars. You can't tell because most of the
Stuff with
photos are black and white.
Yep.
But they're Candela cigars. That's what he was smoking, and so this was the thing. And then it just kind of fell out of favor. And wouldn't you know, Julio was one of the people who taught him about cigars and rolling. Was the guy who brought Candela to the United States.
Really?
And so he's really wanting to bring it back. So this small introduction is kind of like a test market launch of this cigar. And if it does really well, they're gonna make it more widely available, and then eventually it'll come in other sizes as well. What kind of flavors are you getting off the cigar here?
Getting that spice. Nice little white pepper. I'm getting just nice, supple, buttery flavor in there.
Supple.
Supple.
Yeah, I don't know why I said supple. That was ridiculous. I shouldn't have said that.
It's going on the soundboard.
But this really nice,
Supple butter.
buttery,
It's just
spicy. There is obviously because it's a green wrapper, but I mean like it's not overly bearing the grassiness. It's kind of like the icing on the cake, and it's just almost and it's complementing the boom sauce and spice, wood, earth a little bit. Obviously some grassy notes, but not too much. Not where it's going to
more
be
of like a hay than it is grass. You know what I mean? It's like
A
it's
little
not
bit.
even-
But the thing that's coming through too is the sweetness that's obviously coming from the wrapper.
there's a real sweet creaminess to this.
Yeah,
cigar.
it's really nice. It's really pleasant.
And the wrapper's just so
Jesus.
velvety.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And that's what I meant by like there's a wheat flavor to me, like a nice almost like a brown bread sort of thing with butter. Like, you know, if you go to like some restaurants will serve you that warm brown bread with butter. Like I'm getting some of that.
Yeah.
And more so than like grass or anything like that.
There's a vegetal note.
That's
to
what I was
it.
about to say.
Yeah,
There's a
vegetal.
combination
Yeah.
there that I don't know if they're separate. Like the spice and what I'm identifying as like vegetable or anything like that. To me, I think they're the same thing, and it's almost herbal.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's-
that'd be a good word.
I think
for
they're
it,
coming
too.
from the same source, and I mean it's really interesting. And I mean I feel like saying something like herbal or vegetable like implies that it's a strong part of the profile. For me, it's not. It's present, but more so the wheat bready.
It's like the aftertaste of
Buttery.
a vegetable Triscuit.
Yeah,
The
like,
aftertaste of a
Vegetable Triscuit?
Yeah, you know, the herbs and
Are you high?
it's got like the tomatoes and everything like baked into it and everything. It's the vegetable one.
Are you high right now?
No.
like to me, it's a
But it gives
subtle
you that-
flavor,
Yeah.
and it's a smooth presentation, but it's definitely there, and it's a compliment. It's well balanced.
Now,
Yeah.
when a lot of times I think when you say there's a vegetal note in a cigar, the idea is that the tobacco is young, it's underdone, it's not, hasn't been cooked enough. That isn't what you guys are saying here.
No.
No, like I'm getting not a trace of like ammonia or things like that
Right.
that you associate with an immature tobacco. Like there is nothing immature tasting about this cigar.
No,
It's very mature.
it's very mature. Okay.
There's a
Well, there you
very savory character. This
Yeah.
is. It's very savory, and it's just you just want to keep smoking this more and more and more.
That is very true, dude. I can't wait for my next draw
Yeah.
on this thing.
Yeah.
It's
And the boom
very
sauce
addictive.
is just such a great refresher for it too.
Yeah,
It like
I'm-
resets the palate.
dude.
It's beautiful.
Nick, I was like not.
I was
I'm
was
glad we
not-
went with it because we were back
I
and
was
forth
not
for a
there.
little bit.
I was,
And I was like, yeah,
I was
let's
thinking
do it.
too. I was thinking too earlier. I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't do the boom sauce. Maybe we should do like a whiskey or some
Like-
other drink.
Like Kaz said, IPAs are not my thing, and so I'm thinking, boom sauce, really?
and it's a double
And
IPA.
it's a double IPA.
Yeah, I would never
But
guess
this is really I agree with Kaz. It's very drinkable for somebody who that's
Yeah,
not my
does not like-
wheelhouse.
yep.
It's really I can drink it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then
the hops are at an enjoyable level, and they're
Correct,
not
yeah.
like super piney or evergreen, like or that astringent quality
Yeah.
you get with some IPAs.
Yep.
Like I would never guess that's a double IPA.
right?
But I am getting like strong citrus
Citrus.
notes from it
Bingo.
Yeah,
that
it's an
complement
England
this
IPA.
cigar perfectly.
Perfectly,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
it's like almost like a grapefruity kind of citrus.
Grapefruit
Almost,
or
yeah.
orange peel, like that sort of like bitter, but in a pleasant and not overbearing way.
Correct. Yeah, man. I like it. I
Yep.
like it.
Yep.
Wow. First time back, I get a winner.
That's right. That's right. So, Kaz, your, work at Laudisi really focuses around pipes and pipe tobacco. So, but you're a cigar guy too.
Oh yeah.
So, is this kind of a refreshing thing for you to talk about something other than pipes and tobacco?
Well, I mean, I'm still talking about tobacco. It's just rolled instead of chopped. But no, absolutely. So I tell people who, I interact with a lot of people on the road and visiting shops and talking on the phone.
Yes, I know.
And people, I think sometimes, and it's becoming less so, but it's still very present, thinking that it's either pipes or cigars.
Yes.
And I tell people no, like they're very different experiences, they're different cravings, they're different. You enjoy different things about them. It's like sometimes you want ice cream and sometimes you want a steak.
Yeah.
Like not saying one's sweet and one's savory, but like they're very different sensory experiences. And if you want a steak, like a bowl of ice cream is not going to cut it.
I describe it like wine and whiskey.
That's a
Sometimes
that's a
you
better
want
analogy
wine,
actually.
Sometimes you want whiskey.
That's actually better.
Yep.
But so I tell people I smoke my pipe every day. But I have a cigar frequently throughout the week. Some weeks I'll have one a day. Some I'll have like 3 cigars a week. It just depends on what I'm doing and things like that.
Depends on how many 724s you have in your.
That's very true. That's very true. I'm running low
a big
on.
724 fan.
Yeah, I need to get more factory 57s and hustlers.
Mm-hmm.
But
57s, man. That's been my jam.
yeah,
Jam.
But
Age them with bourbon, they taste like blueberries. It's insane.
Might have to try that.
get out.
No, I'm totally serious.
Just leave right now.
Did you not know?
No, because I don't.
We
do
have
that.
we have them downstairs in the dog walkers and the whiskey bottles, the six
Yes.
pack.
I like
and
to
you
enjoy
take the-
whiskey with my
And
cigars,
then
just not
it's just
together.
it doesn't matter what kind of bourbon it is, but for some reason with the wrapper with the Factory 57s, after they've been aged for just a little bit, even just a few weeks in a bottle, they taste like fresh blueberries.
It is a crazy chemistry that Kurt does, but you definitely got to
Dave
try one.
misses blueberry crunch.
Fascination.
Blueberry
Fascinating.
crunch.
Blueberry crunch.
What is that? A cereal?
Yeah.
I don't know, cereal.
Yeah.
Is it a cereal?
Cereal.
Oops, all crunch berries.
Oops,
But,
that was so
so,
good.
so for work, I'm selling pipes and pipe tobacco, and I enjoy talking about it. I love talking about it. I love what I do, but it is a lot of fun to talk about cigars because that's not an opportunity I have a lot. At least
And you really
in my
enjoy them,
vocation.
too,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Like I could talk about cigars just as much. It's just not something that I'm in a position to do a lot.
So it's been a while since you've been on the show, and you're here because we had our annual Peterson event, which we do every year around St. Patrick's Day, and this year we kind of copied last year's event. And that's-
Continued.
That's a better word for it.
Season 2.
The Peaky Blinders, a takeoff of the Peaky Blinders theme, and we invited everybody to dress Peaky Blinders, and there were awards given for the best flat cap, best dressed, most green, and that was a really fun event. You want to talk about it,
Oh yeah,
Kaz?
we had a great turnout. So this was my third. This month is my third anniversary of traveling up to Twins and managing your account with Laudisi, and it's always a pleasure to come up. This was the second year in a row that we did a Peaky Blinders themed and did the Peaky Blinders. And I mean, there's always such a great turnout with the Pipe Club. It's easily one of the most engaged with and enthusiastic like club member bases I've seen within a brick and mortar account. It's always good fun. But yeah, everybody came in with costume, either Peaky Blinders or wearing a lot of green, trying to win these prizes. We had Tequila Talia bringing some phenomenal whiskeys
Oh
that,
my
that were
gosh,
paired
that
with
was
tobaccos.
amazing.
And one of which we'll be talking about tonight,
Mm-hmm.
tobaccos. And what was really awesome is that this was the first time ever you had 2 full tables set up
Yeah.
for the club and for guests. And it's the first time I've ever seen a situation where there wasn't enough seating that an entire like third table had to be brought up.
Really?
And yeah, like it was packed. It was
I had to
absolutely
bring
packed
up.
out.
I had to bring up a third 8-foot table,
Damn.
and there wasn't an open seat.
Yeah.
There were still people standing.
That's a good
You know,
turnout.
around,
That's a
yeah.
good turnout.
It was amazing.
It was crazy. I think it was one of our best attended events.
Oh, no doubt. Like I've probably done 6 to 8 events for you guys over the last 3 years. And it was the best attended of the ones I've done, and they've always been well attended.
Right.
So it's really exciting. I love coming up here. The guys were enthusiastic. They seemed to have a really good time. We had we had a pretty good selection, especially of rare or more higher end Petersons this year.
Right.
And like I said, Talia's, she brought some red breast cask strength, which was my personal favorite.
Yeah.
The
I think it
Jameson,
was everybody's personal
no,
favorite.
it was so good. It was so good. The Jameson
Jameson Black Barrel.
Black Barrel and
Ooh.
Jameson
Casks, stout cask.
Stout cask.
Yep.
Which was aged in a stout cask, like an Irish stout. Yeah. Like,
Yep.
And they were all great, but the red breast stole the show.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. When you have a 116.3 proof whiskey that you
Tastes
can
like
drink
butter.
straight, and it's like just, it's got the oomph, from being a cask strength. but it's so smooth.
You would never guess it was
You-
cast
you
strength
would
if nobody
never
told
guess
you
it was a cast strength.
Thank
You would
you,
guess
sir. Man,
it's
never knew
higher
that.
proof, but you would never guess it was a cast strength. And it was awesome. And she dressed up too. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
She was awesome, all dolled up and everything. And we're grateful for that. But what an event! That was great. We still have some of the pipes there. They'll be on the floor. What's left, which is still a decent selection, by the way, for another week, maybe a little bit more, but at least through the end of the week. And then we have another couple of events that I'll talk about coming up here at Twins. Next week, March 23rd and 24th, we're doing a McAuliffe Cut and Light with Mike, who's the McAuliffe rep for New England. He'll be at the Hooksett store Thursday, March 23rd from 2 to 5. And then here at Londonderry, March 24th, Friday from 4 to 7. And he'll be doing a cut and light event, special deals on McAuliffe cigars. That's going to be awesome. And then next month, April, can you believe it's already?
You wouldn't think
we're
that it's
already
We're almost a
talking about-
quarter of the way through the year already.
yeah. Well,
right.
you wouldn't think
Bam.
that it's March, almost the end of March. You look outside, we have like 4 feet of snow out there. Crazy. You would think it would be December.
My first ever snowstorm. That's been an experience.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. We'll have
man.
to talk about that in just a second. At April 14th, Glenn Case is going to be here. We're doing an event called Making the Case with Glenn, and we're going to be setting up the downstairs retail, making it into a kind of like a little smoking lounge and bar. We're calling it the Case Cantina,
Nice.
and
Like a speakeasy, maybe.
yeah, kind of like a speakeasy setup. And the deal is, for everybody, one of the reasons Glenn's coming is that Christoph has made a 25th anniversary cigar for us. We've had that on the show. Great cigar, great reviews. It's been very well received. It's a 10 count box. It's like $109 for the 10 count box of cigars. But you buy a box, and you're going to get to go into the speakeasy with Glenn, and you're going to get a special pairing of the Old Forester 100 proof single barrel select that's only available here at Twins, with a Cameroon Lancero that they make that's only available in Europe.
Wow.
And so you're going to get that pairing. You're going to get to hear Glenn's story, and he's going to have a Q&A talk, and that's exclusive to people who get those buy a box of the cigars. So it's going to be a small group, maybe 20 people. It's going to be a really, really good time, and that's Friday, April 14th, right before Tax Day.
Yay.
It's my birthday.
That's your birthday?
April 15th is my birthday.
April 15th is your birthday?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's my
we'll have to-
birthday.
yeah, there you go. We're gonna have to do some special time with Glenn. Glenn's an awesome dude.
He is. He's such a great
Wicked
guy.
humble, great guy, the great white gringo of the cigar world.
Hi, Dave.
Yep, cigar
Cigar-
god Dave just
Cig-
walked in.
Cigar God Dave is
Yep,
in the house.
Yep, the beard. His beard's wider than his head. Oh my gosh! Yep, yep. But it has been snowing here today. It has been a very slow day here in Londonderry, but believe it or not, there's 14 or 15 people in here right now.
Yep.
It's amazing how many people just come out.
Well, it finally stopped snowing, but I mean, it's been snowing all day and coming down in just
Yeah, inches an hour.
Yes.
crazy.
It is
crazy. And
nuts.
I've coming from the south, I've never experienced snow like this. It's kind
Really?
of wild. Yeah, no, we don't get snow like this.
Oh, we get snow like 4 or 5 times a year like this
Yeah.
if we're lucky.
I mean, a heavy snow for us is like 2-3 inches,
Oh boy.
and we're lucky if it even sticks.
Oh my.
But yeah, this is this was wild. It's really beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
But
it's
then
the
you
first time
tried driving in it. Then you tried cleaning off the car in it.
driving in it was not as stressful. I mean, my hotel is honestly, it's walking distance.
Yes.
I mean, not in this kind of snow, but in normal,
It
civilized
took Kaz 20
conditions.
minutes to get here.
So, like, I walk out of the hotel and have to, like, dig the car out. Like, it's completely buried. Not realizing the snow's coming down in droves that, hey, while you're doing this, snow is accumulating on you.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I get in the
Shoulda wore
car
a
and
hat.
drive just down the road,
You can't mess up that perfect hair.
running
Look
the
at that.
heat. Oh no, it happened. It happened. Running the defrost, and by the time I pulled up at Twins, all of the snow that accumulated in my hair, unawares to me, melted, and it looked like I'd been in a dunking booth. And I'm like, oh, damn, I've got to do the podcast tonight. So I turned around, went back to the hotel room, and made myself not look like a drowned
Brown
rat.
rat.
But no, I'd never experienced such in my life. It's fun though. It's an experience. But then again, you guys, this is life.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
It's life for us.
yeah, I was
It's-
not equipped.
You know, it's funny. You know, I'd be lying if I didn't say, you know, my mom didn't call me 3-4 times a day asking, "Have you closed yet? It's really snowing out there." No, Mom, we're staying open. Believe it or not, there's people here. You know,
Yeah. They
Um,
came in.
Kurt told us if we left not to come back.
don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah.
Hey now. Yep.
You know,
So-
Danny,
Yes.
in Danny Boy total Nick fashion, I finished the boom sauce.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. And I started drinking
I had
the
forgotten
red.
about this.
I started drinking the red breast,
Yeah.
and oh my,
Does it go well with the cigar too?
it does. There is a very heavy burnt caramel
Mm-hmm.
taste to that
Mm-hmm.
that goes really, really well with this cigar. I mean,
Really well.
I mean, like, it's shockingly well. Like, it's just great, man. I mean, like, it's bringing a little bit. I got to smoke it a little bit more, and maybe I can get another. I'm trying to sip on it so I can save it for the pipe. But I mean, like, it's bringing another savory note in there. Like, more sweetness is coming out of the cigar. I'm tasting less of the little bit of grassy note and more of the sweetness that's coming through.
So it's accentuating another part of the flavor profile of the cigar. So whereas the citrus and the slight astringent nature of the IPA is bringing out those grassy vegetal notes, are you saying the red breast is bringing out more of that inherent grainy sweetness?
Yes, sir, I am.
I'm gonna have to try that. Hold on.
Oh, red breast is just so good. Yep. Yep. We could have done the same drink for both.
I mean, like,
Oh, that's perfect.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Like that with the it's almost a totally different cigar in that aspect.
But it's like yin and yang of the cigar. Like
Yes.
that's the two
Oh
parts
wow!
right there.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
really amazing.
Right? Oh, I want to swear so bad. But I'm going to hold back, Dave.
Gosh darn it!
Yeah, I'm not going to say that, but man, holy moly. I'll say it that way. How about that?
That's a really good pairing.
Right?
Oh, Snickers.
That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
the
Man.
same cigar, but it makes it present in a equally intense way. Just,
Yeah. You're like getting a different side of the cigar.
Yeah.
With the double IPA with the boom sauce, you're getting more of that floral, more of that citrus note in there with the sweetness, and then with the heavier alcohol, with the red breast, you're getting more of that sweetness. It's more prominent.
Yeah.
Getting
and it's-
more wood notes. too.
Yeah. Woo! God damn. Shit, I love this show.
Welcome
Yes.
back, Nick.
Oh, thank
Welcome
you,
back,
Welcome
Nic
back,
O.
welcome back, welcome back.
Yes, we can do the welcome back codicil.
I'm gonna have
Very
to call the bartender and give me a refill me up here.
And forgotten about this part of having Nick on the show.
Yeah, I drink. I drink.
There's
He
no
drank
amount
the
of-
drink.
I
No
drink.
amount of alcohol is enough.
Well, there is. There is a limit, but
At the
you
bottom
know.
of the bottle.
Just haven't found it.
No.
That's the limit.
No.
It's like the Mariana Trench. There is a bottom.
There
Nobody
is.
has seen it.
Not in a while. Not in a while.
Not even the fish has seen
You're
it.
not even gonna. You can't, James Cameron can't even get to it.
This is a fantastic cigar.
It is.
Believe it or not, we're already like ready to go to the next half of the show.
Oh,
What do you guys think of this? I
love it.
think this is going to fly off.
I hope so. I hope this flies because this is just something that
I think, and we had Jay from Hookset come in earlier and drop off some stock and stuff like that. And I asked him about this cigar, and he did not give me the greatest review or the review that I was looking for. He said that it wasn't his jam. And look, everybody has their own profiles and their own palates and their own likes and dislikes.
Yes.
But I think this cigar is great for a beginner. Somebody that's coming in that's looking for a Connecticut or something that's on the lighter end, because this is a cigar that's it's not intimidating.
or like with if someone asks for a sweeter tobacco,
I'd probably go that route, yeah. So it's a
That's not like-
non-intimidating.
not infused.
It's approachable.
Right. It's very approachable.
It's a very approachable cigar.
Right. It's unbelievable price point at what, Danny? $8.50.
$8.50 a stick.
It's an unbelievable affordable price. But for somebody that comes in all the time, that is a seasoned cigar smoker, I mean, I can turn this on to them and they will thoroughly enjoy it. You're going to get some really nice complex flavors out of it. Yeah, granted, it's not going to blow your socks off with your shoes still on, but I mean, it's a damn good cigar.
Well, so like to what you're saying, like I hear that a lot with pipe tobacco. I hear a lot of that with cigars. So sometimes you want to go and sit down and like if you're going for a meal, sometimes you want really spicy Thai curry or really spicy like Jamaican food or Indian food, something like that. But you can't eat that every day. Sometimes
Right.
you want
Yeah.
bacon and eggs, or you want something that's a
Yeah.
comfort thing that not everything
Some
has to.
shepherd's pie.
Yes, not everything has to be a bomb.
True.
Right.
And like, so
Boom sauce.
when a cigar isn't like a bomb, like a really like heavy Maduro,
Right.
or something like that. And Maduros typically don't have a lot of nicotine because like that fermentation, but
Correct.
they're flavor bombs.
Yes.
Like that doesn't mean it's not a good cigar. Like
Right.
there's room for all these points in the spectrum, and I think people fall into that too much. Is like, oh, it doesn't hit me over the head with flavor or
Right.
spice, so this isn't a good cigar. No. Like maybe you're burning out your palate. Like you need to have that variety. Sometimes you just want a good, comfortable, solid, well-made cigar.
Yes.
And this to me is like an all-day smoke.
Oh,
Like, this
for
is
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I mean, like, when Jay told me that, I was like, "What?" I was like, "How?" The cigar is so good, and
Yeah, as
you
soon
know
as
what I
they
mean.
came
He
in,
went
I bought
into
3 of them.
he went into having it, it was grassy forward, and I'm like, oh man, it hurt my feelings. It got me right in the heart because I smoked this earlier. I'm smoking it now, and I mean, it's such a great cigar for somebody that
Makes
again,
me wonder if he actually had like a real Candela first.
Well, I'm pretty sure
know?
he has, but I mean, like, the cigar is so complex. It produces so much flavor. I mean, like, it can easily get this into somebody that is just coming in, says that, okay, well, I'm a new smoker. I just want to go up and have a beer, and I can fit this in their hand, no problem, sell it all day. Yeah. For the person that comes in that has a more complex palate, that has a seasoned smoker, is a cigar aficionado, as we like to say in the
Smoke it
shop.
with some red breast. Yeah.
You can smoke it with some red breast. You can have a boom sauce. But I mean, like, this is, I think, the best of both worlds in that aspect, because you're gonna get both in a retail perspective. this is a double seller for me.
Yeah, there's enough going on that a more seasoned smoker who likes something that's typically has more body to it, they're gonna appreciate this.
It's a good change of pace, but it's not boring.
No,
But
Right.
it's got what it lacks in those booming flavors, it more than makes up for in complexity and
Absolutely.
subtlety, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not one note.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And then with each drink, if you're just a bourbon drinker, you're going to get more of the sweeter, earthier, woodier notes with some spice. And then if you're more of a beer drinker or IPA drinker, that's going to bring out more of the floral, more of the subtle sweetness with some spice. It's a crazy cigar.
So we're
because of-
drinking this with a Redbreast being an Irish whiskey. Like, it definitely brings up what you said, the burnt caramel and stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder what the vanilla tones that I associate so strongly with bourbon would do to this cigar. I think it would work well depending on the bourbon.
Yeah.
But like, it would bring out, I think, even more of that sweet nature.
Yeah.
But
That'd be
not the
interesting.
darker tones we're getting from the Irish whiskey.
Right.
It'd be really interesting to see how this works with various different
Damn.
different spirits.
Kaz is bringing a whole new dimension to this game here.
I'm the warlock. That's
I
the,
like
we're
that. There it
interdimensional
is.
beings.
He's the
man.
warlock, man.
It's spoken.
That's it.
Come to the dark side.
I'm already there, baby. I'm already there.
All right. So now we are moving on to if that's our pick for St. Patrick's Day for a cigar, our pick for St. Patrick's Day, which really was picked by Kaz,
Ooh.
and a great pick as far as I'm concerned, is Gawith Hoggarth's Brown Irish X.
Ooh.
This is a very,
Indeed.
very special tobacco.
Yeah.
I've got it kind of cut up here. This is what we use to fill the pipes with there. But I brought this up. This is how it comes.
Sausage
Rope.
It is
Do you have that
a
stick?
rope tobacco. This is perfect for a warlock. You can wrap it around your neck. People think you have a snake,
gotta
but
have
it's
that.
really pipe tobacco.
Did you take Kendra
And
down?
very, very good stuff. So you want to talk a little bit about this particular style of, a twist or
Yes.
rope, and talk about maybe how it's made, why it's made,
Absolutely.
all that whole end of things.
I
Because
will.
you
I will
just
try
don't
not
see this
to.
stuff around.
Yeah, I will try not to be so nerdy that I lack the entertainment side of things.
Ooh.
I'm a tobacco nerd. I can talk
White
about
nerdy.
the
White nerdy. White nerdy.
the aspects of pipe tobacco to the point that it's dry because it's stuff that only like tobacco nerds would appreciate. But I think the story behind rope tobacco and the style of tobacco it feeds into is really interesting. So rope tobacco was originally developed during the time that transatlantic voyages from what is now the UK to the colonies in the Americas could take anywhere from 3 to 4 months.
Mhm.
So you had to pack a lot of tobacco, and you had to. I mean, everybody
And
smoked,
a lot of ale.
and you had to prevent it from drying out somehow. And the first way that was developed was taking rope, or taking tobacco leaves and twisting it into a rope, which is a pretty straightforward process. I've dabbled with it myself. It's a lot of fun, but it is labor intensive because it's done by hand.
Right.
And that holds moisture incredibly well. And so, yes. So that was something that was developed, and then later from that developed what's known as plugs, and then later Navy flakes, which is
So ropes were first.
yes, absolutely. And they survived, so they're still made the way they were made centuries ago. These are like colonial era tobaccos before a lot of the hybrid varieties were developed, and pipe tobacco today is a lot milder and a lot smoother and not nearly as high in nicotine as the original strains. That's not true with twist or rope tobacco. It is still very much potent stuff. It'll put hair on your tongue.
Is,
So
is the proper word for it twist or rope, or are they both?
they're interchangeable.
They're interchangeable. So it's proper to say either.
Yes, so they're known colloquially as ropes because they're quite literally a rope.
Locally.
But the manufacturers refer them as twist because once You roll them, and the initial part of manufacturing is not too dissimilar from rolling cigars, actually. You have a filler, a binder, and a wrapper. But you just keep the process going until you have this long rope, and then once that's made, they are literally twisted, and which is why they coil up the way they do.
Okay.
And then they are baked or stoved for a number of hours, depending on the product they're trying to make. So most people who smoke them are familiar with the black ropes, which are cooked longer. But today we're smoking the brown Irish X, which is my personal favorite of the ropes or twists. But they're very high in nicotine, and once they were made for sailors. Let me light up.
Dan's shaking.
Weak. Well, Danny,
No, I'm fine. I was
this
just
this is a lot better than I remembered.
yeah.
Because I remember when Paul, love you, Paul. If you're watching, Paul, I miss you and I
Pablo
love you.
Maduro.
Pablo Maduro, if you are watching, I love you and I miss you dearly.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic. Oh my God.
It's transcendent.
You're gonna bring a tear to my eye now. Stop doing that. But yeah, I remember when we had it on with Paul, and it was okay. It didn't have this much of a deep flavor. It's like almost having burnt ends, almost like
Well,
very
we
also very savory.
this one was also dried for like 3 days.
Right. I try to.
You're speaking to the point they hold moisture incredibly well. So if you're
I
3 months
mean-
at sea, you're good.
I mean, like Danny cut some of this earlier, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll throw it in my pipe and try to smoke it," and it wouldn't smoke. I mean, like I lit it like 10 times, and I barely got anything out of it. So I was like, you know what? I'll just wait until the show, and I'm very happy that I wait to the show because I mean, like this stuff, it's very also full body, got this nice deep, almost rich burnt meaty.
There's
type
a
of-
meaty, yeah.
yeah.
There's meat, there's wood. So it's a
Yeah.
combination of really dark air cured and really dark fire cured tobacco. That's very stout with nicotine and flavor. But it survived to this day because Britain had a very robust domestic coal mining industry for forever. Well, you can't smoke in the mines, and this is when everybody smoked.
Why not?
Try it.
Gonna.
Find a gas pocket and see what happens. But so it was inexpensive. It could be purchased in bulk, meaning you could go into your local tobacconist and say, "Give me so many ounces," and they'd weigh it, cut it out. It was prepackaged, that sort of thing. But they would chew it. They would cut coins off and chew it in the mines, and then in the evenings when they got home, they would cut coins off, break them up, and smoke it in their pipes. So
My
it was a
God.
dual. They didn't have to have two different products. This
Right.
was an all-purpose tobacco.
We had a customer that did that one time, and it didn't work out well for him.
No, because this isn't the Skull or Copenhagen that you buy at the gas station. This is a man's tobacco.
Well, he found out real quick about
Those
that.
men are long gone.
Yeah, the types of, and when I say man's tobacco, these are the type of men that don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like this is tough. But anyway, it's they have survived because they're literally like you go and you can buy a pipe tobacco from a store, and there's going to be 5 or 6, sometimes dozens of blends that aren't the same but are in the similar vein.
Yeah.
That's not true for rope tobacco. Twist. They are in a class on their own. They're unique, and that brings me to the. Stop me if I'm jumping ahead of what you were thinking, Dan. But this feeds into a style of tobacco that I find with each passing year is more and more forgotten. People talk about English pipe tobaccos, aromatics, burleys, Virginias, all these different subsets of tobacco styles. And nobody talks about Irish tobacco anymore, which is why this is called Brown Irish X.
Yeah,
So-
that's one of my questions is what it makes this Irish.
Okay, so there are 2 things about it that make it Irish. I'll start with Gawith Hoggarth. Like they have named it such because they make 3 gauges of rope, 2 of which are exported to the U.S. market. They make what they call pigtails, which are very, very thin ropes.
Okay.
They make bogies, which are like medium thickness, and then they make Irish. The Irish are the thickest gauge. They're roughly the size of about an American nickel.
Yep.
What you have there.
Yep.
Maybe a little larger. And that was the gauge that was smoked and enjoyed to a great extent in Ireland, because they made themselves, the thinner gauges were used more for chewing, but the thicker gauges could be equally useful in a pipe or if you wanted to chew. Ireland, up until quite in last few decades, was, with the effects of several political things that I won't get into, but they were developing their independence, like everyone knows about the partition that happened in the earlier part of the 20th century. So it was largely an agricultural or industrial country. So the fact that it was so economical made it very popular, and it was also a very stout tobacco, so you got a lot of bang for your buck. And that leads me to, they were exporting a lot to Ireland. Irish tobaccos, which I find is its own style that it's largely forgotten. The Irish preferred very stout, very hardy, very robust tobaccos. The few that remain that would be in the Irish style are, of course, the Twist. You have Dark Flake, Dark Plug from Gawith Hoggarth, which are quintessential Irish tobaccos. And then you have some from other manufacturers that have survived still, like under the Peterson brand. You have like 3Ps and
That's
Irish,
a good one.
Yes, and Irish Flake. You don't see them in the U.S. I'm not even sure if they're still produced anymore, but like Yachtsman Plug, very, very stout, hardy. So anything that's predominantly based in really dark colonial era air-cured, fire-cured tobaccos, Plug and Twist, which made them very portable because there was less manufacturing involved because they were just pressed and cut. You didn't have to do flakes, ready rubs, ribbons, things like that. Is quintessential traditional Irish pipe tobacco. So because there's less awareness of that old style of tobacco, and it's largely incorporated under the English style of tobacco, because I mean, the British Isles, that part, like, there's a lot of shared culture, both in cuisine as well as tobacco. It gets looped in there, but it's there is a big difference between the two. And I think anybody who, especially with St. Patrick's Day, if you're looking for something that that is quintessentially Irish in your pipe, a rope or a really hardy plug would be excellent. Just make sure you have a really hardy meal beforehand, because these tobaccos are not, they don't pull any punches.
No, they do not.
Not the faint of heart.
No.
Now, what's in this tobacco?
So
Irish.
it is.
Really?
Lots of potatoes.
Lots of potatoes, yeah.
No, there's no potatoes.
Cabbage.
No potatoes, because there are no potatoes to spare. But so they don't disclose.
I thought it was just all Virginia.
Well, see, that's what people, yes. But most people don't understand that there are two meanings to that word. What we call Virginia today didn't exist before roughly 1860. What we call Virginia tobacco today is synonymous with flue cured. So tobaccos that are cured in a closed barn with indirect heat to preserve sugar. They're milder. They're much sweeter, because sugar, like air curing, makes sugar degrade, and therefore it's not as sweet. Think burley or cigar tobacco. Like there's sweetness there, but it's not like Virginia sweetness where there's a lot of sugar present.
Right.
So, but the term Virginia tobacco existed far before the advent of flue curing, which was in itself discovered as an accident.
Oops, I put it in the flue.
But the term Virginia tobacco was a very particular style of tobacco that was actually developed by John Rolfe, who.
So it was a style, not an actual like leaf.
It's so there are actually only two types of tobacco in the world.
Light
There's
and dark, right?
Nicotiana rustica, which is what the Native Americans smoke, which is the only commercial usage today is in snus.
Snooze. What's snooze?
It's like a snuff.
It's like if you buy the little pouches
Yeah.
that are tucked in under like Sweden. It's really popular in Sweden and such.
Okay.
All tobacco, whether it's cigars, pipes, what have you, that is used today is Nicotiana tobacco, which is domesticated tobacco, which all came from John Rolfe. So John Rolfe, he's most famous for marrying Pocahontas.
Okay. Yeah.
But he was in Jamestown, and he traded in the colonies. Anyway, he picked up seeds, tobacco seeds from Trinidad and the Orinoco River Valley, took them back to Jamestown, and instead of using the local natives' form of curing their tobacco, he took tobacco from Trinidad and used the Spanish style of curing tobacco. And this hybrid together created what he called Orinoco tobacco, but that didn't last long. The English called it Virginia tobacco.
Okay.
And that was what was known as Virginia tobacco up until the advent of flue curing. But all tobacco that's used today comes from that. Like that's what spurred it on. It's basically domesticated tobacco.
Okay.
But anyway, it starts out as that, which is air cured because flue curing had not been developed yet.
Right.
And then there is some fire cured in there, which is the same tobacco, but it goes through a curing. But instead of flue curing, which is indirect heat, it's direct heat. So there's a smoky element there.
Okay.
And that's some of that what you're getting, the burnt ends, the mesquite notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this, I'm 90% sure I'm remembering this correctly, but if I'm not, someone correct me.
Okay.
But the fire cured aspect of it is the wrapper. The rest of it is air cured. To make it not a complete powerhouse, it does go, like I said earlier, it's basically baked in a kiln. They take these coins, they coat them in an oil.
Coins.
Hmm?
They take coins.
Coin
Did I
slices.
say coins?
You said coins.
Sorry, they take coils.
Coils.
Coils. I thought I said coil. They take the coils
You're cut off.
of the twists and they put them in essentially a large oven or a kiln coated with oil, food safe oil, so they don't singe, and they're baked for an extended period of time to mellow and bind the flavors. So what you're smoking now that is just so robust and heavy, that's actually a mellowed product.
Really?
Yes.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
We're talking tobacco that was smoked by this, like the same style of
Real man.
tobacco that was smoked by people 300-400 years ago. Like it's insane. This is probably one of the
People who drink
last
mead.
true tobaccos from that era that still exists.
Wow. So we're smoking a piece of history.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Oh,
Ooh, Kurt.
Kurt.
Oh, smoking a
Oh,
piece of
history.
history.
Stay
There we
tuned
go.
next year for 724 twists.
Oh, yeah. There
Is
we
that going
go.
to happen? Could
Oh,
that happen?
We should make that happen.
Oh,
Now,
I
Could that happen?
wish.
history. Come on
there's-
now.
It could.
I mean, I don't want to get into it since Pat's not here,
Jeremy's awesome.
but we'll have to have that discussion with Pat. But he'll be able to explain
There's
the
my
intricacies
dark
of like
fired.
FDA and regulatory issues, why new products are trickier with pipe tobaccos than they are cigars now. But
Okay. Now, we've talked a lot about the tobacco. What do we think about the pairing? We are pairing this with Redbreast 12-year Irish whiskey.
Irish on Irish.
Irish on Irish.
And my last
For
name
St.
is
Paddy's
Flanagan.
Day. So, Flanagan, why don't you start? Is this a good pairing?
I think so.
You think so?
I'm
Yeah.
proud you have some left.
I've been nursing it. I don't want to go right through it, but
It'll
I
bite
mean,
you.
Yeah.
Take it slow.
Always.
I don't mean bite as far as like tongue bite, like that nicotine will sneak up on you. These are
Oh.
deceptively, because they
Oh,
smoke
I
really
know.
smooth, right? They're
It is.
reversed in flavor, but it's smooth in smokability.
That's why
Correct.
I saved half my dinner for the second after the show.
I bet you're supposed to eat it before you smoke it.
Well, I
but-
did, but you know.
You need a full Irish breakfast before you smoke this,
Mhm.
complete with black pudding.
Black pudding.
Black pudding.
It's a favorite. I had it when I went to Ireland a few years
What's
ago.
black pudding.
It is it's an
Is it-
Irish style
is it
blood.
black?
Yes, it's a blood sausage,
Oh.
but it's served for breakfast. They use it like in the U.S. we use sausage patties,
Mm-hmm.
and it's amazing. If you ever have the chance to try black pudding, like don't pass up on it.
So with the pairing, It's weird because I'll get that caramel note from the whiskey, and then when I smoke it, it's weird because it kind of for me it enhances the robustness of the tobacco. So I'll get more of that meaty. There is a nice little sweetness in there, but it's just more of it.
Oh, smoking the glass.
Oh, you gotta smoke the glass. He's fancy. You know, he's wearing the 3-piece suit,
Two piece.
2-piece suit.
I don't have a
so
waistcoat on, Nick.
he's a fancy man. He's a fancy man.
You don't pay attention to me.
I pay attention to everything. Those gator shoes, everything. Are those gator?
Get that burnt in,
So,
mesquite.
I mean,
into
like
the, into the whiskey there.
the whiskey just enhances the flavor of the tobacco. It's really, really enjoyable. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's really good. What do you
Do
think?
you concur, sir?
I don't want to. I do concur. I don't want to lay it on too thick, considering I chose the pairing. But but I think Nick was spot on with his characterization of it. Those burnt caramel notes, those the slight what I associate with like raisins or sultans from the Irish whiskey, like that isn't in the tobacco. But it contrasts with the tobacco where I taste more of the burnt ends, the wood, and that earthiness, and it also brings out that like natural dried fruit sweetness that I get from the whiskey. It's like they don't clash; they make each other more of themselves. And if I may use a very southern metaphor, it's why we put just a little bit of salt on our watermelon, because I don't know if you've ever tried it.
Who does that?
Everybody
in the South.
Oh boy,
Try it.
I'm such a New Englander.
Yeah, salt your watermelon because it sounds like it would clash, but it makes the watermelon sweeter. Like it brings out such a more intense fruit flavor.
I'm gonna go home and
right?
salt my watermelon.
Have you ever tried?
Go home and salt my watermelon.
Like, have you ever tried like sea salt chocolate before? Like a
Salt
sea
my
salt?
watermelon.
It's the
Call
same
me a
principle.
Southerner.
Really?
It's the same principle. Yeah.
Interesting. Now,
Salt my
do you
watermelon and
prefer,
salt my chocolate.
coarse salt, fine grain salt?
So-
like
Salt?
what
Bath
salt?
salt?
Oh,
I mean,
you
just
rascal, yo.
just straight table salt.
Okay.
If you want to be a tried and true Southerner, do it from a salt shaker where you've put some grains of rice in there to absorb the excess humidity in the
Oh, whoa.
atmosphere. Because
Whoa.
we live in a swamp.
Snooty.
Oh,
So,
no.
like,
They do that in Puerto Rico.
yeah, but I mean,
Puerto
because the
Rico.
salt will clump.
Yes.
Like you've got to put rice in the salt shaker, otherwise your salt's going to clump and won't come out of the shaker.
yeah. It's
So,
nice.
yeah.
Whoa.
Genius.
We're very like multicultural here as far as like the last time I was here I was talking about New Orleans with Mike from
Orleans.
Rocky
New
Patel.
Orleans.
Orleans.
You can
New
call it whatever you want,
Orleans.
just don't call it New Orleans. I will leave.
Orleans.
Oh, I will hold my comments to the end.
Now, you've seen us kind of relight this a number of times. It is not uncommon to have to relight ropes more often than other tobacco. And this has been sitting out for about 6 hours.
Oh, this isn't the stuff that I
No.
cut for the show. Is that gone?
Nope. It's just this was cut this afternoon in nice, nice thin pieces.
Oh,
Left-
whatever.
Left
Yeah.
out
I mean,
to
like,
air dry.
You need a little moisture in tobacco to carry the flavor. Like
Yeah.
like if you ever smoked a cigar that was too dry, like the flavor's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like the moisture in the smoke carries the
Yeah, the oils in the
particulates,
tobacco.
yeah.
If the oils dry up, the flavor's gone.
yeah. So you need a little moisture, but so these types of tobaccos, like once you cook tobacco, it doesn't readily accept flame as well as uncooked tobacco. And a good example of that would be you ever smoked an English blend that's really high in Latakia, or as you would know, a blend that's really high in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Like cooking tobacco does make it less prone to take to flame, but it also makes it burn slower and richer.
Right.
And you have that here, which is also why on these wooden ships, like going back to my first ramble, You couldn't smoke on the
Rubble,
deck.
rubble, rubble.
I mean, it's a wooden ship. They're coated with tar. You've got flax sails. Like if an ember, like you're at sea, there is no distress signal for help. So you only smoked in the captain's quarters, and the captain like designated your smoke breaks. Like, okay, you can go in and smoke. Okay, you
Really?
can go in and yes, it was only in the cabin because there was no wind to carry embers, and it was it was while still wood, like it was
Treated.
yeah, and it was a safer environment. You didn't have gust of wind that would flare up embers and things like that to risk catching the ship on fire or the sails.
Oh, wow.
So because of that, and another reason for that, these tobaccos are designed to hold moisture, so they require more relights. So you're going to be utilizing fire more often.
Right.
So you need a indoor area to do this, and
Yeah.
so everybody had a smoke
They
break
must
on
have
the
had a
ships.
lot of matches.
They actually used coal back then because matches hadn't been invented. That's another like you had to. They made special tongs for these clay pipes, and you would take a coal or an ember out of the fireplace
Really?
and set it on top until it lit, and then you'd put the coal back. Or
Damn.
you could use a little like wick, like rope, and they would use that from the candles or the lamps. So it was even more dangerous in that time to light a pipe.
Yeah.
Or you can use one of those, what are they? The cannon wicks there
Yeah.
that they light the cannons and just, instead of lighting
I mean,
the
it was
cannon.
the same general principle because like matches or lighters had not been invented yet.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Didn't know I was going to get
Apologies
a history
for
lesson today.
the multiple info dumps. There's just a lot of history and interesting facts about these tobaccos, and like I said, I'm a complete nerd about them. So I'm
Hey.
just gonna.
No, I think it's great, and
I love it.
You know, we've
Imagine
had,
lighting.
this is
something
probably
with, like
the-
Flint and Stone. Just
we've you know,
It's awesome.
it's not uncommon for us to, I try not to repeat stuff on the show, but there's only so much you can you can do, but I mean, this is probably the third time we've had a rope on the show. I think it's the second or third time
yeah,
we've
done black twice at least.
Yeah.
and but it's so unique, and
You're
it's
right.
got such
It's so-
it's got such a history to it, and I know that not only is it an old form of tobacco, but and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe over at Gawith Hoggarth they're still using the machines from the late 1700s.
The only change that has happened to their equipment is in the tobacco presses and things like that are insured by the British government as historical artifacts. They were purchased in the late 18th century, 1700s, and when they were purchased second hand.
Wow.
Samuel Gawith brought them down from the Scottish Highlands on a horse-drawn buggy. So
Wow.
like that's the only change that has happened to them is in the 60s or early 70s. I think it was the 60s. They had them re-outfitted, so when the heat presses and the kilns are no longer powered by coal, they are powered by natural gas. That is the only change that has happened to them. But
Yeah.
like they're
So the recipe is the same. The way that they're twisted is the same. The way that they're cooked is the same.
Yes.
The way that they're prepared is exactly the
and the
same.
fact that the varieties of tobaccos used in these are still around because it's really the only commercial usage for them it is aberrant that these tobaccos are around today.
Aberrant. Yes.
Like there's no it is, and also like
Conical and aberrant.
Where do these tobaccos for these ropes come from? That's a great question.
mostly Africa.
Okay.
What they would have once called, if you're a real tobacco nerd, you will remember seeing ads or coming across ads for various blends that were produced in the UK, which is either going to be England, Scotland, or Northern Ireland. In, let's say, the 60s or 70s, they would refer to blends as Empire blends or made entirely with Empire tobacco. And it's because the tobaccos were being grown in the British Commonwealth, African countries, certain parts of Asia or India. So while the varieties, of course, like all tobacco, originated in the Americas, them being cultivated and grown in other parts of the empire, like parts of Africa was not something that that came about in that time period, the 60s or 70s. Like, it was actually within short order after their discovery. But a lot of those same tobacco growing regions that were started by the British are still producing today. And like cigars, unlike other pipe tobacco blends tobacco can be picked by machine and processed because it's going to be cut into ribbons or pressed into a plug. These require whole leaves, like cigars, so they have to be grown and cared for and picked and cured by hand, so the leaves are not damaged, because you have to have whole filler, you have to have whole binder, and you have to have whole wrapper.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome to know.
And after cutting up so much of it, I can attest to that. That
It's whole leaf.
It's whole leaf.
And like, you don't see that anymore in pipe tobacco, because there's no benefit to taking that extra pain, because they're going to be cut into ribbons or flakes. Like, it doesn't matter, but by nature, these have to be whole leaf. And that only happens when you have independent farmers picking leaves by hand.
Yeah,
All right.
Crazy.
that's beautiful.
So
That's beautiful.
what's our final thoughts on the black Irish, on the brown Irish X and the pairing here?
It's not for the faint of heart, I'll tell you that.
It's
Man, this is a robust tobacco.
yeah, it is.
But if you are manly enough, or
You'll chew it.
women enough, feminine enough, I guess. Some of the ladies that we have up in the lounge do smoke pipe. We've
Because one of Kendra's
To the-
favorites was Black Irish.
yeah, Kendra smokes it. We got Bree smoking it, and soon enough we'll have Elise smoking pipe as well.
Yep.
If you like robust tobaccos, I mean, this is up your alley. I mean, this is charry and meaty and earthy, and there's some sweet accents
so
to this.
savory.
And it's very savory.
And
And
umami.
and if you have the patience to relight this a few times, I mean, this is for you.
And eventually you'll get it going. I am curious, though. I have some ideas, but there are definitely, if you're a cigar guy, you're going to notice a lot of common flavor elements in this tobacco that you don't often find in other pipe tobaccos.
Right.
Are there any specific cigars out there that you guys think share some common flavor traits with this tobacco?
Yes, the Roma Craft Slobberknocker. That was like smoking a steak.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree with that.
I think there are a few cigars within Roma Craft that probably also share some characteristics, because they're known for being heavy hitters.
I got a few that come to mind.
Mhm.
Now that I'm
Do share.
do tell, I would have to say the Le Bijou Torpedo Box Press, or Toro Robusto.
My father.
My father, yep. So the Le Bijou, my father. I want to definitely say the 724 Factory 57.
Yes, that's
Yep.
what I was hoping you would say.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got that.
The 113 too.
113, yeah, it's got that some commonalities there. Maybe no, I was gonna say Aladino Maduro, but that there's more of a sweet aspect there. Maybe the Perdomo Reserve Maduro, the blue label.
I can see that.
I think those cigars would be, if somebody
Whiskey Rebellion.
Yeah, you can do the Whiskey Rebellion. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah. If I saw
Specifically the
somebody,
Bradford, yeah.
if I saw somebody that was, if I knew one of the customers that smoked cigars and pipes, I would definitely recommend the.
What about the Olmec?
Ooh.
The Olmec Claro or the Maduro?
No, I wouldn't do the Claro. This is the Maduro for sure. The Claro is more, for me anyways, is light to medium, complex. There's a little bit more spice. There's a little bit more earthiness there, but not like this tobacco. This tobacco is just, it's kind of in your face, really meaty, really earthy, really kind of, really strong, really like it'll take you by the effing neck and
mommy.
be like, smoke me. You know what I mean?
Smoke it if you got it.
So I'm glad you said the Factory 57. That was one I had in mind.
Yeah.
I didn't think about the Whiskey Rebellion, but I completely agree with that. And there's another, and it's, I'm going to struggle articulating here what about reminds me of it. So I'm you may know what I'm talking about, and may be able to do it better than I.
And the knuckle dragger.
Yes, but the Foundation Highclere Castle Victorian.
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't know.
Like something about it to me is similar, but I am having a total failure to articulate what it is.
I think it's the sweetness.
Maybe no, it wouldn't be the sweetness. No,
You're wrong.
no, maybe,
Your mom.
maybe the spice. Maybe the.
There's
I haven't had that
depth
cigar
there,
in so
right?
long. Yeah, I'm trying to, because I haven't had that cigar in so long. I'm trying to nail it. To try to, man. Now I'm gonna have to smoke it. Now I'm gonna have to smoke the Highclere Castle.
So the Vitola that I smoke is the Corona.
Oh,
So you get a reference that like what I'm picking up.
I'll have to buy one.
Yeah.
I'll smoke it on the way home.
Do that. All right. Well, Kaz, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you
It's
for
always
having me.
awesome to see you.
Yep.
Always great to have you on
Always,
the show.
always.
Always a
I
pleasure.
hope to have you up in another 4 weeks when you bring back up the next 724.
All I need is an excuse, Dan.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm counting on.
Make
People,
make sure you forget your coat here too.
Oh, that's
that's another excuse. We'll get Kaz back. No worries about that.
be careful what you wish for.
That's our show for tonight. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week, next Tuesday. Not just blowing smoke.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.